Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? And welcome back to the One Man Low Council on this beautiful, cold Tuesday evening in Tennessee. How is everyone doing this evening? We got a lot of things to talk about. We got to talk about The Mandalorian. We got to talk about the Disney Plus service and how it's pretty much failed epically in a lot of different ways in its initial launch, of course. Issues that we assumed would probably happen because of previous Disney apps and previous Disney services that also have had issues and struggles over the past year or so, and other things as well. So how is everyone doing? We got Father Christopher Miller. Hey, old Father. We got Josue Vagia. Aiden Vickery is in the chat. Jeremy Swiggs is here. Laura writes all my fanfiction stories here. HyperNext13, Nickel Noodles, G-Monger76, Force Ghost J, The Senate, Riff Magos, Mr. Happy Sack, Dion, Will Gentry, DLS Master, Stream Elements. HyperNext13 says, pretty good so far, dude. How's life going? Life is going just fine. Week is very, very cold. We actually had a delayed start to school today because last night we had a little bit of a wintry mix. And it was pretty much frozen. There was a lot of ice when we woke up, and so we started school about an hour late. In fact, I'm already cold. Like, we got the heater on and everything, and I'm still cold in here. But you know what? I like it. I like being cold so that I can wear a jacket, and it feels very comfortable. I don't know. There's something about wearing a jacket when it's cold that just feels wonderful. The Senate says, my reaction to The Mandalorian, yeah, good. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I did a video review on the channel earlier, and yeah, overall, I would say if I had to give it a grade, I did not give it a grade earlier, but I don't feel like I can give it a grade the same way I do movies, so I kind of like the out of 10 scale for it, and for the first episode, 8 out of 10. I give it an 8 out of 10. It's mostly solid. The music is pretty forgettable to me. I think that that's one of my bigger issues with it is that the score is just so lacking. When you think about Star Wars, one of the most iconic parts of Star Wars is the score. It really took on a life of its own. And obviously, it's a kind of a tall order to expect anything similar to the John Williams score, right? However, I was expecting something a little bit more than what we got. Now, I'm not saying that the music is trash or bad or, at an objective level. I'm just saying that overall, when the series, or rather when the first episode ended, I thought, okay, well, I don't remember the score at all. Does the show have a theme? Is there a theme song for this character? I feel like most shows and TV, movies, etc., usually will have something to that effect, but apparently really not much for this. At least not that I could see. Super Anime Gamer says, heyo, what is up, my dude? Would the whole stream be dedicated to The Mandalorian? Because I still haven't seen it, and I can't have it spoiled for me. Well, as you can see in the name of the stream, this is going to be a Mandalorian spoiler talk, so I cannot protect you from Mandalorian spoilers. All right, it came out earlier today. There are plenty of ways to access it. There is a free trial of Disney Plus. Obviously, I'm a very anti-Disney person, but there is a free trial, so if you don't want to give them any money but still reap the benefits of the service, you can do so for a week. And if you sign up now, you get the first 2 episodes of Mandalorian. It's an 8-episode season, so you get 2 out of the 8 episodes for free. So if you haven't watched it yet, there are ways to do it, man. So unfortunately, it looks like, yeah, We're going to dedicate some time to some spoiler talk today, especially about that ending. But we're not going to jump into the spoilers right away, of course, unless a comment jumps into it. Once I see my first spoiler comment, well, then I'll tell everyone, hey, by the way, we're about to jump into some spoiler territory here. But I cannot protect you. I cannot. Jay Stowe says, kneel before Zod. Yes, yes, yes. Alex McCarthy says, howdy, Odin. How's it going? And I'm doing terrible. I'm still recovering from that horrible movie. So for those that don't follow the Twitters, Alex McCarthy recently got Disney Plus because unfortunately his wife just pretty much made him get it at this point in time, which, hey, I understand. You do not ever cross the wife, right? Happy wife equals happy life, as Father Christopher Miller likes to say. And it's very true. So he ended up, for some reason, I'm still trying to figure this out. But for some reason, he thought it would be a good idea to watch Captain Marvel. And he said, yeah, that's 2 hours of my life that I can't get back. And that's what I was trying to tell you. But you know what? I'm glad that you were able to experience it for yourself. Smatter Effect, what's going on? CWD Trixie, what's going on? Let's see, where are we in the chat? Tech Guy, thank you very much for the $2 super chat, says, Mandalorian is more Star Wars than the last 3 movies. That I can absolutely agree with. If there's anything this show has in spades, it's that Star Wars feel. Now, I know that it's not the same as the movies, right? The movies are of a specific genre. This, to me, is definitely more of a Western. And you know how I feel about Westerns in general, but modern Western adaptations or modern Western remakes, I actually tend to like a lot more. I've already mentioned that one of my favorite modern Westerns is the remake to 3:10 to Yuma. It's just solid. Christian Bale's in it, and it's got a great cast, and Russell Crowe, and so many other people are a part of it, Ben Foster. And it's an excellent movie. It's very well done. And I've never even seen the original 3:10 to Yuma, but I love the remake. I think the remake is solid. So the fact that The Mandalorian has that modern Western feel to it, I think really does benefit it. I think that is a huge benefit to have. And to be honest, having a Western in Star Wars, to me, just makes sense because there are so many Western elements to the original movies that I think has been lost. You know, I think that a lot of the magic of the original was lost because of just the different genres and the different crossing of genres that the original movies have that the new movies don't. You know, the new movies have just lost so much heart. And so that's the one thing that you could see right away from this is the heart behind the camera. You can tell that Jon Favreau was writing the story from his heart. You could tell that Dave Filoni was directing his ass off because he directed the first episode too. And I totally feel you there, Tech Guy. I totally agree with you as well. Mandalorian, absolutely more Star Wars than the last 3 movies combined. Now, does this mean, because I know that there's some people out there that are going to try and, spin all the wheels and everything. Does this mean that Star Wars, that rather Lucasfilm is all forgiven? Hell no. Hell no. Does this mean that Rise of Skywalker is likely going to be good? No. That's kind of a done deal. At least it seems to be a done deal at this point if the leaks and the rumors are indeed to be believed. But that has nothing to do with Mandalorian. Mandalorian is a Jon Favreau project. You can tell he has full control over it because it just feels like a Jon Favreau project. You can tell that Dave Filoni was very much involved in the process too. And also, I'm happy to say that that Dave Filoni is not just an animation director. He does not just know how to handle animation. He can also handle live action. But this actually gives me a lot more hope because the fact that he's directing it like 2 or 3 episodes for this season, and he's even writing one of them too. This, to me, gives me more confidence that what would be a great combination of people for a Star Wars film? Filoni Favreau. And I'm hoping that the success of Mandalorian, if it continues, because we're only 1 episode in, there's a lot of things that can happen in 7 episodes. But if this continues, and it continues to be as strong as this episode or even better than this episode, I think that they will both have made a strong case for them being put in charge of whatever the next trilogy or whatever the next series of movies is going to be. Because it's solid. It really is. All right. Jeremy Swig says, I think you need to take care of these frost giants on the loose. Nah, man. Nah. I like the cold. I let the frost giants have just a little bit of freedom. So that way I get the cold weather. Now, all I need from them is a little bit of snow. Jumping over to D-Live, Captain Dean Heiss is in the chat. Captain K-Man is in the chat as well. The CJH, thank you very much for the ice cream, and lemon donation. Just dropping them. Dropping them. Captain K-Man says, I have Verizon as well, just not the unlimited plan where I could get it. Captain Dean Heiss says, I am too anti-Disney, but I get Disney Plus for free with Verizon, so what the heck? No, I totally understand, right? If you're getting something for free, and there's a show on there that you're actually interested in, I'm not going to go after you for watching it. It would be hypocritical of me to go out of my way to purchase the service, right? Getting the free trial, accessing it through other means, allegedly, of course, that's a little bit different, right? Because I do want to still watch the content so that way I can cover it for you guys. But me giving them money, I think, kind of contradicts the things that I've been saying on the channel, right? But for you don't really have that same obligation, I feel. So, yeah. I'm not going to judge anyone on the channel because I know there are several people watching right now that have bought Disney Plus. And hey, I'm not going to judge you for it, right? Even though you are giving money to an evil corporation, I'm not going to judge you for it. I like to tell that to my students saying, oh, you mean Disney Plus? You mean that evil corporation? And then they say, do you really think it's an evil corporation? I'm like, what do you think? And I just leave it there. I just leave it at that. And Captain K-Man says 3:10 to Yuma remake is a great movie. It really is. It really, really is. All right, jump back over to the YouTube chat. Hammer says, Star Wars was meant for grand-scale auditoriums displayed on wide curved screens with massive sound and audiences, not TVs and iPhones. Well, hey, I think there's a lot of truth to that still, because a lot of people still can't watch it on their iPhones or TVs because the rollout for the service has been really bad. In fact, someone that I thought I was cool with, they still follow me on Twitter, they randomly just called me out recently, and I'm not exactly sure why. But the person said this. I'm not going to say the person's name because I try to avoid giving, calling out names and stuff like that, unless it's people like John Campea. I'll call that guy out every single day. But this guy says, it's kind of pathetic that you are holding the botched launch against them. So he basically just said, I'm pathetic because I'm calling out a multi-billion-dollar corporation for botching the day one release of their service, which they've been promoting like hell, and should have known how successful it was going to be. Like, I understand there's going to be issues. Every service, no matter how powerful and how rich you are, there are going to be issues. But I'm sorry, but the issues that they're having are pretty incredible. Like, these are problems that much, much cheaper services and much poorer services deal with. Not a multi-billion-dollar service like Disney. The fact that I can't even download the app, because I tried this, the app is not compatible with my phone. I've got a OnePlus 6T. It's not an old phone. I've got the latest software, the latest security update, everything like that. Can't download it. So that's an issue that is much more pervasive than I think people want to admit. So to the dude on Twitter that called me pathetic for calling them out. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I called out the multi-billion-dollar corporation for screwing up its launch. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Duck Fisney. And if you're going to go ahead and shill like John Campea, go somewhere else, please. Sorry, that one got me a little bit heated. But anyway, Hammer, getting to your point, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. The Star Wars franchise is indeed something that was meant. In the very beginning, it was meant to be on the big screen. But Star Wars is also a galaxy far, far away. There are so many stories. There are so many different things that can happen. And if things like Clone Wars and Rebels showed us anything, you can translate that to the small screen too. And based on my initial reaction to the first episode of Mandalorian, I think it transfers pretty well. Now, would it have transferred better on the big screen? I think so, because The Mandalorian seems to be a much bigger story than what most television shows are. But again, that is just me. HyperNext13 says, not to sound anti-Disney, but I just don't care honestly for Disney Plus. I'm tired of Disney. Happy to see you like The Mandalorian though. Hey, and I respect that. Believe me, I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you, which is why I have no plans to actually buy the service. If I'm lucky, someone might help and give me access after my trial period is over. Because that would just, of course, be an easy way to continue to watch the content, but also to review the service too, right? Because I think that people honestly want to know. There are people watching the streams that hate Disney, but at the same time too might have kids and might want to have access to some of the the rich libraries of content that they have. There's a lot of classic Disney stuff on there that I'm like, hey, that's actually kind of cool that they have that. I really wish Disney wasn't dropping the ball and wasn't being terrible right now, because it would be a really cool thing to have. But they are terrible, and so I continue to boycott them monetarily in every way that I possibly can, including using their free trial for all it's worth. HyperX13 says, if you were a MK character, you'd definitely be Sub-Zero, my brother. A Mortal Kombat character, I'd be Sub-Zero. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can imagine so. Jeremy Swig says, did you see the new Sonic trailer? I did. Kudos to the team that redesigned Sonic. That is what Sonic is supposed to look like. And you know what? That trailer is already better than the first trailer was. They changed the music. They changed the soundtrack, which was already a much better decision. And they also, in my opinion, knocked the design out of the park. Now, is it going to be a good film? Who knows? It's a February release. The CGI looks CGI, so it's really going to be hard to say. But you know what? I give them respect, mad respect, for hearing the complaints of the fans, listening to them, changing the release date, changing the design to listen to what the fans wanted, and I think the fans will respond. Will they respond enough to give the film a lot of money? I can't say. But I know that I'm planning to see that film when it comes out because of that reason. And I was originally going to boycott it because, I say boycott, I mean, it's kind of a general term now, because I don't like Jim Carrey. I think that Jim Carrey has just jumped off the deep end. However, I do want to give some kudos and I do want to give some money to the people that are actually going to listen to their fan base. CW Trixie says, it was 16 degrees here. Yeah, it ended up being middle of the day, around 29 degrees. So it was below freezing almost all day today, which is crazy. And we have a hard freeze tonight, so that should be interesting. Dory the Hobbit says, I loved Lady and the Tramp. If you're meaning the original movie, sure. I have not watched the remake, but just based off of the thumbnail for it, it looks like Lion King, where it's quote-unquote live action, but it's actually all CGI, and I just have no interest, especially since they've already admitted that they're going to be censoring it, that they're going to be taking out songs because nowadays they're seen as offensive. I don't like self-censoring in that way, trying to be more PC in that way. I don't like that. John Early says, my younger brother wanted Disney Plus, and he got it. He doesn't believe pirating allegedly because he's not a crook. He says, hey, and again, I totally respect anyone that feels that way. I don't share in that. Alistair Carly says, the score was meh, but the rest was pretty good. Oh, it was. I mean, to me, the strongest part of The Mandalorian was no question the cinematography. The cinematography was gorgeous. Like, there's just no bones about it. It is a beautiful looking show. And kudos to the effects team, because that is not just the cinematographer. That is also everything you see on screen. The production design is fantastic. The character design is fantastic. It's come to the point where you know that there are some things that are CGI, but there are also a lot of elements that are practical. And that is exactly what I've wanted for the longest time. You all know I am such a harper when it comes to visual effects. This one, to me, knocks visual effects out of the park because it uses CGI and practical effects, and it uses both of them in tandem so well that it's hard at times to tell the difference. It's hard to tell what's CGI, and it's hard to tell what's practical effects. And that, to me, is exactly what every show should be like. Stephanie B is in the chat. What's going on, Stephanie B? Just keep in mind, everybody, that Tina is out of town. Tina is going on vacation. She has a hard-earned vacation, and hopefully she is enjoying herself. I know that she'll be in New Orleans area very soon, so hopefully she enjoys that, and hopefully she enjoys her cruise as well. And we have Stephanie B in the chat, though, so we've got my general, my Valkyrie. Stephanie B is going to be taking things over and holding down the fort. So make sure y'all behave, all right? Because she'll be working as a single Valkyrie for the next month or so, several weeks. Dion says, music is part of the experience, and you're exactly right. That's why it is, I think, a legitimate criticism to have, that if the music is not going to capture you in the same way that the John Williams score did, even though we know and can acknowledge it's not ever going to touch that score, most likely, then it's a failure at that point, right? At least when it comes to the movie, at least when it comes to the actual quality of the music, right? Because to me, the quality of the music, as you said, is important to the experience. And if it's not going to, every time you hear it, like if you were to play music from The Mandalorian, I would say, where's that from? I've never heard this before. That's how unforgettable it is, right? And I think that they need to work on that. Not they have got a lot of time to work on it because the score is pretty much already set, but that's something that hopefully they may work on in the future. Soul Assassin says, hard to believe The Mandalorian came from current era Lucasfilm. It is, until you remember that the names that are the most involved in this project are Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. The fact that it took at least like 3 title cards for you to get to Kathleen Kennedy, that's to me what made me realize, okay, yeah, so Favreau had almost complete control of this project, and Filoni obviously had full control as a director here. So that's what had me excited for it, because even during Star Wars Celebration, it was very clear that Kathleen Kennedy was not as heavily involved in the series as she was in the movies. And that's what kind of had me have any hope for the series at all, because she did not have creative input, or at least seemed not to have as much creative input as she has had on the movie side of things, which is a great bit of news, because screw Kathleen Kennedy. She has no idea what she's doing creatively. She does not have a creative bone in her body. That's what I have to say about that. Alrighty, let us see here. Chat jumped on me as usual. But luckily, no comments were skipped. GMonkey76 says, allegedly working midnights interferes with being a pirate, but I will be sailing the high seas tonight, allegedly for the Mandalorian, but spoil away, Gmonkey, and we will. Stephanie B, how's it going? Hammer says, I already missed John Williams. Star Wars is a cinematic experience. Now matters are worse. Yeah, here's the other thing, too. The first movie that they do without John Williams Are they going to repurpose his score again, or are they going to try and create a new score? That to me is an interesting question, because I would assume that they're going to say, okay, this fanfare, this music is all a part of the Skywalker saga, and therefore will no longer be used after this film. That's what I'm assuming is kind of going to be the rule over at Lucasfilm under Disney's control, right? That they're no longer going to use that music because that is specific to the Skywalker saga. But then that raises the question: who are they going to try and get this? Who are they going to try and get the theme? Now, if it were me, if I was the one that was choosing someone to create the next Star Wars theme, and this is something that maybe they'll try and pick up for their series too, because honestly, I think that I would really enjoy it. I'm trying to look up the name of it right now, but the person that did the score, and he's done it a couple times for a couple really cool shows, is Ramin Djawadi. Ramin Djawadi, I think is how you pronounce his name. He did the score for Game of Thrones, and he did the score for Westworld. And if there's anything I can say about both of those shows, even though they both have, Westworld definitely went downhill in its last season, and Game of Thrones, we all know how that went home. The score was always good, and he was a very integral part of that. And the themes for those shows are fantastic. Like those themes are so iconic and so well done. You know who should make the next Star Wars theme? I think it would be Ramin Djawadi. Is it going to be as good as John Williams? Probably not, but in all honesty, I think that he would be the one that's most equipped to get even close to, or at least create something so unique that you say, oh, I still like this. It's not John Williams, but hey, I still like it. Let's see. HyperNext13 says, do they establish anything like Mandalorian language that's shown? No, they do not. So there are different languages spoken in the first episode, but when it comes to the actual Mandalorian himself, the bounty hunter, we don't have a name. We don't see his face in it. So I guess we'll be getting to some spoilers, I guess, but that to me is kind of a basic plot element. There's really only one thing I would actually constitute a spoiler, and that's something that happens at the very end, but we'll probably get to that soon. But no, he speaks the common language, which I assume in that universe they'll call it common, the common tongue, the common language, which we would just call English. I guess basic is another way to describe it. The Senate says, I got the Mandalorian through special means, allegedly. Yes, of course, Senate. Laura Ryan Soulman fanfiction story says, the music wasn't done by the great Ron Kinner, who did Rebels music. Some guy with a long name I've never heard of. Yeah. It's amazing that they wouldn't try and pick someone that they've worked with before or is a hot commodity in Hollywood, like the guy I just mentioned, Ramin Djawadi. It's amazing that they wouldn't do that, but hey, they obviously had a certain vision. Let's see. Father Christopher Miller. Hail, Father. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Says, Danny Elfman for next Star Wars composer. You know what, Father Christopher Miller? That would be a good choice, too. If they couldn't get Ramin Djawadi, then I would be okay with that, because Danny Elfman is also a very talented composer. Hans Zimmer could probably also do a very good score, too, if he was able to do his own original score. Connor, thank you very much for the $3 donation, and thank you for using the Streamlabs link, Connor. I don't know who you are, but thank you. He says, keep it going. Keep what going? Thank you. I appreciate you, good sir. Thank you for the $3 donation. Thank you. All right. Alex McCarthy over on YouTube says, never said it was a good idea, but was curiosity, and wow, Captain Marvel was worse than I thought. And yep, you deserve everything that you received. Super Anime Gamer says, oh, I know, thank you, and that's okay. Usually I wouldn't care about spoilers, but I actually got a guest spot on a site to review it, and for that, I want to go in blind. Hey, yeah, I understand, man. Wanting to go in blind is something that's very hard to do in the modern world. As someone that tries to watch and follow wrestling as much as I can, if I miss the show, everything gets spoiled for me, and I'm like, well, guess I won't be experiencing that. But it's on me, because if I'm not watching it live, if I honestly care, I'd be watching it live, or I'd be at least following it, or I would get off social media, so that way I wouldn't have to worry about seeing it. All right, over up on DLive, the CJH, thank you very much. CJH, thank you very much for the lemon donation. And Captain Mr. Roy just dropped 3 diamonds over there. Thank you very much. Thank you for the three diamonds. Let's see. Livin' DLive. What's going on, Livin' DLive? Thank you very much for joining the stream. Yeah, Captain K-Man, thank you for the diamond donation. Oh, man, so we got Captain Mr. Roy and Captain K-Man dropping those diamonds. Captain Dean Heiss just dropped 2 ice creams. Thank you for those ice creams. Hopefully they're unlicked, of course. Dorda Hubbard says, I might be wrong, but no SJW crap in Mandalorian. None that I saw. Now, I started watching Gary's review of Mandalorian, and I had to stop because I'm like, you know what? I love Gary, but I feel like if I watch this review, I'm probably going to agree with everything he says, and I don't want to steal any of the thoughts that he has, right? So it's one of those things where once you become friends with someone and once you follow someone for a long enough time, you start to like pick up some of the things that they say and the ways they speak and the words that they use and sometimes even the opinions that they have. And out of respect for Gary, and of course out of respect for everyone here, I had to stop watching because I'm like, I'm agreeing with everything he's saying. But the one thing I can say to that point specifically is that he mentioned that there were some sprinklings of SJWisms in there. I don't think that there really was anything clear. I think that it's mostly the insinuation that, well, we know Disney, and there are certain characters and certain scenes where you're like, oh, they could go in this direction, but they don't go in that direction yet in this episode. So, yeah, there is no SJWisms in the show as of yet. However, it is Disney-run Lucasfilm, so it might be a matter of time. Soul Assassin says, the good, the bad, and the Mandalorian. Zach Gregg says, it proves Jon Favreau and Filoni should take over. I agree. Like, this first episode, to me, is so solid, and if the rest of the show continues to be solid, Jon Favreau wrote most of the episodes to this show. There's a few episodes where Filoni comes in and writes one, and then there's like maybe one or two other people that write one or two episodes after that. So, yeah, if the entire series ends up being as solid as the first episode, then yeah, absolutely, they will have proven themselves to me that they have enough creativity and also apparently enough clout to be able to get past the stupidity of Kathleen Kennedy. Jay Stowe says, have you seen any of the Krypton series? Been seeing the first season for sale and been curious of it. Might be worth a pickup. If it's decent, I've not. Never was interested in seeing it. It was a sci-fi show, like a purebred sci-fi show, and that's just not really for me. Laura says, Ludwig Göransson did the music, worked on Marvel movies like Black Panther, and to be honest, I don't really remember the score for Black Panther, so that might speak to something. Laura says, I like the music because it was a bit different, not as good as Rebels, though. Yeah, and again, the music's not bad. There are some people that are saying it's like they're trying to insinuate that it's objectively bad. I don't think it's objectively bad. I just think that it's forgettable. Like that's my problem with it, is that I feel that for a Star Wars series, I should be able to remember the theme, or I should be wanting to say, oh, I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to listen to that theme, or, oh, I'm planning to listen to that at some point in the future, right? When the first episode of Game of Thrones came out, when that theme hit, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a great theme. And you learned it very quickly. Don't really feel the same way when it comes to this one. So hopefully the music gets a little bit better. At least by that, of course, I mean more memorable. Super Anime Gamer says, can we just take a second to acknowledge the hilarious fact that The Mandalorian was already floating around Pirate Bay hours after it dropped? Flawless. Well, I mean, we already knew that was going to happen because it's only been released in one market, US, Canada. And it's not being released in other countries until months down the road, and the series has started this week and will end in December. So are you going to expect people in the UK to sit around for months after the show has ended, not knowing anything about the show and possibly seeing spoilers? Of course not. So it makes sense to me why that would be the case. The bigger issue, right? The way that I'm going to call out Disney is the fact that it dropped 5 hours early. Like I'm in a group chat with the Geeks and Gamers team, and when I woke up around 6 a.m., it had been blowing up because they had already dropped the episode like during the middle of the night, and people had already watched it in our chat and were already posting video reactions to it. I'm like, wait, what? I thought the countdown was still going on. And sure enough, the countdown was still going on because they screwed up. And as I said to the person on Twitter who I think just responded to me, let's see what he says here. He says, don't take it like that. Yes, they knew it would be a possibility, but some things in life never work as intended, but it takes time to fix. And there's one thing that differs between me and Campia. One is a bought-out shill, and the other, me, is just a simple man doing what he can. Out shill, and the other me is a young adult trying to make it, though, through life. The thought of comparing me to a person I know we both dislike wholeheartedly is just borderline low even for you. Okay, so you are the one, good sir, who called me pathetic. You said it's kind of pathetic. He says it's kind of pathetic that you are holding the botch launch against them. That's you calling me pathetic. I call you out for it, and now I'm the bad guy. Okay. All right, bro. All right, dude. Well, you're no better than John Campion now at this point, man. He might be taking money for it, but that's why you should know better, because you're not taking money for it. Oh, man, oh, man. It just never ends. It never, ever ends. But anyway, what else were they expecting, right? Pirate Bay is going to happen. But the fact that they botched it, right, 5 hours early is ridiculous. And no, I'm sorry, but they should know, especially since they've had now months and years to plan this launch. They have been able to watch Netflix, HBO, and all of these really giant stations, giant channels, giant services go through this process. And yet they are not able to even handle traffic? Like, that's the big thing. Traffic? They can't even make the app available to Android users, or at least to certain Android users. Like, I just, that to me screams a level of incompetence. Now, again, issues are going to happen. I understand that. But to me, the number of issues that have happened from this are just way too many. For a company of this size and of this much money and this much value, it's inexcusable. It really is, especially after they're going to go ahead and take over every site promoting Disney Plus, pushing it down everyone's throats, and then they can't carry through. So they're the ones pushing. It's opening day, and they drop the ball. They released their show 5 hours early, which, again, I appreciate, because it meant that because I had a late start today, I got to watch it before going to school. So, hey, that's great. Anyway. Let's see. Super Anime Gamer says, I know The Mandalorian dropped early and I saw photos of people getting locked out. What else did they do wrong? Well, as I mentioned before, the app is not available for certain people. There are countless numbers of screenshots of people not having access to not just The Mandalorian, but just watching the content in general. There's just a lot of technical issues that are going on, probably because of servers not being able to handle the traffic. But as I said, Disney has the money. Disney has had years to watch other services handle this issue. If you think that as many people that watched Game of Thrones season finale and the last season and the last few seasons, series finale, season finale, if you don't think that more people watch that than try to get on Disney Plus, seeing that HBO has to deal with other areas, etc., I'm sorry, but no. That's why, to me, it's not an excuse. Orange Eye Review says, my boycott will stand. Glad Mandalorian was enjoyed. Hope you are well. Their failed launch is entertaining enough for me. Disney has done too much. They can't be forgiven. Hey, Orange Eye Reviews, I'm right there with you, man. That's why they're not getting a dime from me. Alice McCarthy says, finally watched a few episodes of Rebels, and it was pretty good. It is. I thoroughly enjoy it. I really do. I like the characters. I like the story. I got used to the animation of Clone Wars, and so Rebels just didn't bother me nearly as much as it might some people who've never seen any of those shows or never got into shows like Clone Wars. But yeah, overall, it's very good. Gabriel Alejandro Bandiera Rodriguez says, greetings, Odin. Just finished watching the pilot by the app, allegedly. This pilot proves that Crazy Kathy needs to go away. So far, it was good. The music needs a bit of work. Yeah, the music needs a bit of work. It's not memorable. That's my biggest concern, or rather, that's my biggest critique of it so far, is that it's just forgettable. It's just completely forgettable at this point. And yeah, what I will say this much, another thing that I heard from, I want to say it was the Gary review. It was either Gary Nadrog's review or it was RK Outpost, Ryan's review. And at one point, someone has made a reference to the fact that one of the characters in Carbonite. So at one point, you're on the Mandalorian ship. So I guess this might be a bit of a. Again, I feel like there's only one spoiler, and it's at the very end. But anyway, there is, I think, an interesting. So at one point, you're in the Mandalorian ship, and there's a bunch of people in Carbonite because he has been busy. Capturing a bunch of people with bounties on their head. And at one point, they show you one of the persons in Carbonite, and I swear, and I was watching it again recently just to make sure of this, there is a character that looks just like Kathleen Kennedy. There at one point, there is a female character trapped in Carbonite, and she looks just like Kathleen Kennedy. And I don't know if that was intentional. Probably wasn't. But the fact that it's even somewhat close to it is brilliant. I love it. I couldn't stop laughing. Lethal Lightning, dude, don't donate Lethal. Thank you for the Aussie $2. He says, Bosk Trandoshin, not more like Transdoshin. Tell me more, Lethal. Is this some reference to EU that I'm not understanding? Probably. I know Bosk, but I'm losing the reference at this point. Trandoshan. Bosk Trandoshan. Is that the full name? Bosk Trandoshan. Okay, there's Bosk. Is that Trandoshan? Is that the full name? Come on, Lethal. You dropping in those extra things in there. Holy crap, a lot of things going over on D-Live. Captain K-Man, thank you for the ice cream donation. Daniel Thorne, thank you for the ice cream donation. The CJH, thank you for the diamond, dude. He says, glad I can send donations through D-Live. Well, CJH, thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you, thank you. So many diamond donations today over on D-Live. Seriously, man. All right, jump back over to YouTube. Rosetta Allen says, no plan to watch the show or get involved. It might start well, but I will bet flat out in the end, Disney-fied and horrific. Yeah, there's definitely a strong chance of that happening, unless Favreau had full creative control, which is possible. So before I say that, I will watch all the episodes. So I don't have high hopes that it won't go well at some point, but it hasn't yet. Super says, do you have to give your credit card info to get the free trial? You can also give your PayPal. So if you have a PayPal account, you can also give your PayPal. Oh man, the Hunka Chunka Funkin' Monkey. Thank you for the $2.57. Thank you, good sir. Go to bed. Says, what does it say that Disney claimed massive numbers signed up for Disney Plus, yet didn't make sure the servers could handle that much traffic? Almost as though they weren't expecting those numbers. Hunky chunky. That's actually a very good point. So they were boasting about having all these numbers, record numbers, all these numbers, right? Hitting the mark, surpassing the mark they had intended, and yet their servers weren't ready for it? That's actually a good point. So either one, they're incompetent, which I think is probably the true answer, or two, they were claiming to have all these numbers, and in reality, they weren't expecting as many people as they thought. I think it's the first one, to be honest. I think it's just incompetency on their part. HyperX13 says, yeah, my brother and sister keep raving about it. It's a bit, it's nice of them to offer, but I just don't care about it, though. Yeah, Hyperin, I hear you, man. Trust me, I understand where you're coming from. Zach Gregg says, I'm debating getting Disney Plus. Well, Zach, they'll let you have it for free for 7 days, and so that way you can determine, is it worth it? And that's only a decision that you can make. Jeremy Swig says, classic Disney movies with all the offensive scenes taken out. Screw the social justice Mouseketeers. Yeah, for those that didn't watch my video from the other day, one thing that has definitely kept me from ever really considering this service completely is because of the fact that they've put some movies from their classic library on there, but they've edited them. Even worse than them editing out non-PC scenes from their movies, what I find interesting is the fact that they have now re-edited. Now, the rumor is that George Lucas asked them to do this. Based on George's history, this might be true. This actually might be a complete George Lucas decision and not Disney. But you know how the original film, Han shoots first? And then George Lucas decided to have it be where Han doesn't shoot first? Well, now they've changed it again. And so now Han doesn't get the last word. Now you see the other character get the last word, and then they're shooting basically at the same time. So it's been changed again for the Disney Plus version, and yeah. So it's all these random changes, both for the PC nonsense and for crap like that, where I'm like, yeah, this is... If you're not going to give me the complete, unedited, unadulterated movies, what am I paying you for? Rosetta Allen says, it was around 4 when I left this morning to run my errands. Get up to 9 degrees, and I was hiking to find eagles. Nice. Very cool. Hammer says, killing Luke Skywalker in Star Wars lore is unforgivable. So is censoring classic cinema. Down with Disney all the way down. Yes, hashtag Duck Fisney, no doubt. Gabriel Pandiera Rodriguez says, I heard that the Siamese twins will be censored for REI cis. Oh, for racism, yes. Oh, yeah. In the newer so basically it was reported that in the new version of Lady and the Tramp that was just released, that song is no longer present. And the characters might not even be present either, or there might be slightly altered. So yeah, they are definitely playing to the PC crowd. Super says, pay for Sonic ticket, then go to Birds of Prey. I would say yes to that because screw Birds of Prey. That way you can give Sonic money for being awesome and still give us a review of Birds of Prey, not unless there is a cooler February film. No, definitely plan on seeing it because I want to be able to report on it to you guys. And what I'm hoping is that if I don't get a screening, because my boy, my friend John Flickinger, who might be streaming still right now, he finally decides to stream. Of course, he decides to stream during a time when I'm streaming, which again is, yeah, we'll have to talk about it later. But anyway, so every now and then he'll get screenings. He'll get advanced screenings to movies, and so if he gets one to that one, and he actually wants to go to it, then I will. And he invites me, I'll be glad to tag along. Just that way I know I don't have to pay for it, and I still get to see it to review it for you guys. But yeah, if that doesn't happen, though, definitely would rather pay for Sonic and go see Birds of Prey. That way I can talk about it, and it doesn't get my money. Yeah, that Greedo scene, man, that Greedo scene ticks me off. Why? Why are they changing it constantly? All right, looks like the chat jumped on me once again. It looks like some comments may have been skipped. Not my fault, Disney. Rather, it is Disney's fault, but really is in this situation YouTube's fault because YouTube sucks. Captain Dark 77 though over on DLive, thank you for the diamond donation. It says Diamonds Are Forever, favorite Bond movie. Oh, I see what you did there. Very, very good. Alex McCarthy, though, at 7:22 p.m. says, End of the Mandalorian. Interesting it was. Oh, it was. Hammer says, Hildur Guandoditer, best score for Joker. Oh, that's a name right there. And yes, the score for Joker was fantastic. Cannot say that man's name, but the score was fantastic. Jay Stowe says, here is the theme for Star Wars after Episode 9. Oh, who lives in a galaxy so far away? Oh, who lives in a galaxy far, far away? Oh, SpongeBob. Now I get it. Orange Eye Review says, Howard Shore might be a good choice for a replacement for John Williams. What has Howard Shore done? CJ8 says, George Lucas helped write that spoiler ending scene. Did he now? I've not heard reports of that, and that to me would be against character because Ryan over at RK Outpost made a very good point that George Lucas for years was adamant about that character not being given an alternate story, not being touched. So it's interesting that he would be involved in that process. So I'm wondering how true that actually is. John Early, thank you for the $5 super chat, says, Disney has basically become the WWF after they bought out WCW and ECW. People who follow wrestling in the 90s will understand this reference. Well, I did watch that in the 90s, and I do understand it. And you're right. Disney has become so big, and now it's taken up all the competition, and it's made it worse. And it hasn't done it well. Hammer says, who's looking forward to the Mandalorian episode directed by Bryce Dallas Howard? Yeah, that's the one that I'm going to be watching with an eagle's eye because I don't understand why she was chosen. And what's interesting about her in general is not even just the, people trying to put, oh, she's a female. No, she's related to a very famous person. Bryce Dallas Howard, Ron Howard. And to me, it's interesting that she got her acting career because of that connection. If anyone's going to say otherwise, I'm sorry. But if you're going to tell me that she did not get her foot in the door because of who she knew and because who she related to, I'm sorry, but that is just not based in reality, right? However, I think that she's a pretty good actress. I like her as an actress. So she could be a decent director. Again, she has that connection to a director that is pretty good for the most part, Ron Howard. He couldn't save Solo, but he's made other good films. So I'll have to wait and see, though. But I'll be watching that one with an eagle eye, for sure. Rosetta Allen, thank you for the $2 super chat, says, Howard Shore did Lord of the Rings, silly boy. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, well, I don't know all things. I'm not completely all-knowing. So, sorry. I know Lord of the Rings, and I know the score for Lord of the Rings. Did not know who wrote it. Harbenther says, I think that the next Star Wars composer should be Edward Shearmur, Sky Captain, A World Tomorrow, David Arnold, Independence Day, Alan Silvestri, or Bruce Broughton. Alan Silvestri is the only name that I really recognize from that list. I know the movies that you're talking about for the others, but Alan Silvestri I think would also be a good choice too. Hypernex13 says, and the Oscar for Best Forgettable Score goes to Black Panther. Oh wait, we've made a mistake. It's Mandalorian pulling off Moonlight La La Land scenario. Yeah, I get what you're doing there. Hammer says, Obi-Wan deserves a feature film shot on film. That's right. Hammer, yeah. I totally hear you there. That being said, I'll have to wait and see what the series itself looks like. But I do agree with your overall sentiment, that's for sure. Captain Mr. Roy over on DLive says, I just checked. YouTube unsubscribed me from the flick pick. YouTube sucks. Captain Mr. Roy, YouTube does indeed suck. It does suck. I'm sorry that they unsubscribed you from him, dude. I know that happens a lot, though. People get unsubbed all the time for no reason, and they never explain. They never give you any details. And that's what pisses me off most about the YouTube. And now they've got this new criteria. Someone posted a link on my Twitter about it. And I got this notification, too, when I was uploading my video today, that there's going to be a new standard on YouTube videos, and you have to specify whether your videos are meant for children. And that, to me, is the weirdest thing. And it says specifically, it doesn't matter what country you live in, you have to follow the standard, which is, to me, saying, so are you saying that we now have international standards? Because I am not okay with that. I do not believe in a new world order. I do not believe in international rule. That's ridiculous to me. But I read the criteria and everything. I'm like, I'm just going to put my videos as not being for kids because I don't even want to go there. I don't care if it makes my videos less like algorithm friendly. I don't even want to get in, because at that point, they'd have to be like, oh, you listed as your channel being okay for kids, for children, but you say the word ash hatch, and that's not PG friendly. And I'll be like, it's in the Bible. Look it up. Not hat, of course, but Gabriel Alejandro Pondiera Rodriguez says the critical drinkers sail the high seas. The critical drinkers sail the high seas to watch the Watchwomen just for the review. He hated it very much because that series pretends to be Watchmen in name only. Yeah, it took the name of that movie, of that graphic novel, and decided to run away with it. And from what I've been hearing from a lot of people, it has not been successful in doing so. Rosetta Allen, thank you for the $2 super chat. Once again, says, we know you don't know all. Try 80s knowledge. Oh, you're so funny. Captain Wingster. So, Odin, you're Jeremy's pool boy, huh? Well, do you clean the pool all sexually wearing a Speedo and mesh tank top? Because if so, I am looking to hire. Only for Jeremy do I do that. Only for Jeremy. Sasha Neon says, Disney's refusal to accept mistakes and always putting a positive spin on things is quite immature. Yes, I agree. 70B says, are the episodes of The Mandalorian 30 minutes? They are roughly around 40 minutes or so. They're not particularly long. They're basically the same length of a cable show without commercials. So, yeah. Gabriel Alejandro Pondiera Rodriguez says, expect a massive loss for Disney, the end of the year financial reports. Most likely. I could see that happening. Captain Wingster says, I'm also glad I have all physical Disney content I want. I'll just wait for HBO Max. And that's pretty much the way to do it. Buy things now while you can. Buy things used while they're cheap, because Disney is going to be closing that vault soon. And unless you have Disney Plus, or unless you've already bought one of their films, the prices are going to go up. They're going to re-release it in a couple years, and it's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Connor Kershik says, what are your thoughts on the Scoob trailer? Have not watched the Scoob trailer. I just have no interest in it. I love Scooby-Doo, but I don't want anything new. Hybrid X13 says, I do not approve. I want Mandalorian. Where's my equality Disney? Well, the female lead, they didn't even feature in this episode. So Jeremy Swig says, that is Bosk species. Okay, I didn't know that. Sasha Neon says, Tradoshan is Bosk species. You've been out nerded. I have been out nerded. You're right. It's not hard to out nerd me. I am a very surface level nerd. And then Tommy says, Odin, you have failed the Transdoshans. Yeah, I'm probably mispronouncing it too. Harvard Bentha says, do you plan to watch Midway? I found it very good except for the uneven CGI. It was thrilling, stuck mostly to the facts, and had no fictional characters or sappy love story. Well, I'm glad to hear that. It's doing very well at the box office, and it's probably because it's a historical film that actually sticks to history. I've heard some really good things from a lot of people, and it's a film that is definitely not on the top of my list of things to see, but I might because of the positive reaction I've been hearing. I've also been hearing a lot about the CGI. Rosetta Ellen says, that's why I said I bet that Duck Fizney, Duck Fizney, Duck Fizney. Oh, did I mention Duck Fizney? You didn't, but I'm glad that we got that covered. Howard Bentho says, I think that Gary is starting to get a little paranoid. Not that I blame him. He thought the blacksmith was the Mandalorian's boss for PC reasons. I don't think she was his boss at all. Yeah, I need to rewatch it because I was already like halfway through rewatching it again because I want to really be able to understand completely what they're trying to do and really try and find and focus on, because obviously when I watched it this morning, all I cared about was just getting through it before work. But watching it again, I'm looking more closely at it. And so I'm almost to that scene specifically. And yeah, I took away from that scene that you're talking about. So basically, for those who haven't seen it yet, or those who have seen it, we're talking about the scene where he finally gets paid, and he actually gets paid with the special metal that Mandalorians use for their armor. And he goes to a blacksmith who is being played by a female Mandalorian. And she melts it down and basically builds part of his suit, or a part of his armor. So he now is able to wear that new piece of metal because he's basically building his suit, building his armor. And so apparently Gary said that it looked like that was his boss. To me, I thought of her being a peer. I thought, no, they're just both Mandalorians. They obviously are sticking together. They're probably a part of the same guild. But it seems to me that he doesn't have a boss. It seems to me that he's pretty much a loner, but she happens to be the blacksmith. And so that's where the sprinkling of SJW-isms, I think, some could try and find. But to me, having a female as a blacksmith doesn't really faze me all that much because I'm a huge fan of movies like A Knight's Tale, where the character Kate is a female blacksmith. So that stuff doesn't really bother me, and there's historical relevancy for that too. So yeah. They didn't make her OP. They didn't make her anything more special than what she was, which was a blacksmith. And her scene was so small, and so short. I don't think of her as being of any importance at this point in time. If that changes, I of course will mention it. Sasha Neon says, I heard from Clownfish TV that Dumbo isn't censored, but some shows like Gargoyles are very inconsistent. Yeah, that's interesting because according to the article that I read not too long ago, Dumbo was going to be censored. They were going to take away, not the crows entirely, but the reference to Jim Crow specifically. And so that's interesting, though, that they haven't. I wonder if they just missed that. They are being inconsistent, but what part of Gargoyles has been cut out? I never thought anything about Gargoyles was offensive. But again, what would I know? I was just someone that was really enjoying the TV series. And it was great. Jumping over to D-Live, the CJH, thank you for the lemon. And Daniel Thorne says, Disney is really in it for the money. Every episode has a different OST, and you have to pay for each one. Wait, Disney is really in it for the money. Every episode has a different, I guess that means time, and you have to pay for each one? Where are you paying for each one? Are you talking about on iTunes or something? Because if you're watching it on the service, it's all included in the service. All right, chat jumped on me again. Hopefully no comments were skipped. Let's see. Where are we? Where are we in the chat? Okay, cool. No comments were skipped that time. Rob D says, Greedo shot first. The prequels are better. Jar Jar Binks is the greatest Star Wars character. Buy the special editions. Well, I already have the despecialized editions on Blu-ray. So I've got the original cuts of the film, or as close to the original cuts of the films as you can possibly get. It's the Harmy's despecialized, which is a very, very good edition of it. So on my version, Han shoots first. And it's wonderful. And I will not say the prequels are better. Better than the recuts, maybe, but that's pretty much all that I'd be willing to say. And even that might not be as much because the movies are still great. Harvender says, I read that the new Disney Plus version of the Greedo scene was one of George Lucas's final changes after the first Blu-ray release, but before he sold Star Wars. That's what I'm hearing too. So it seems to me like that's on George, which wouldn't surprise me. Again, he's made changes like that before, so I honestly believe that to be true. Dory the Hobbit says, did you know there is an unedited... Okay, just deleted the comment right as I'm reading it. That's not very nice. So Neon says, I feel if we asked Harrison Ford who shot first, he would just shrug and say, so what? I shot better. He probably would say that. You're right. He knows what's up. He knows what's up. Goku, if you want to leave a comment again, man, just put Odin question. That's the only way that it'll highlight orange for me. But I saw your comment next to Hardwick's, and he says, love your channel. Well, thank you, Goku. I appreciate it, man. Harabentho says, did you hear the rumors about the test screenings for Wonder Woman 84 being a disaster? Yeah, I was just watching Lethal Lightning, my boy Lethal Lightning. Check him out. He's a good YouTuber. I was just checking out his video on Geeks and Gamers about that. I was only halfway through. But yes, I have heard of that. And that's sad because he was excited for it. And I thought that it actually had high hopes. That first poster was great. Rosetta Allen says, Howard Shore did Lord of the Rings, you nutcase. Harbentho says, Howard Shore was coach for Lord of the Rings. I think that he would be an excellent choice. I think that if he did Lord of the Rings, yeah. But I don't know, what has he done recently? To me, it's like, what have you done lately? The ones that I've mentioned have more recent works that I'm aware of. Steve Trixie says, once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away. Sasha Neon says, Howard Shore, Lord of the Rings, you've been out-nerded. It's not hard to do that. The Senate says, George Lucas contradicts himself in a few interviews. This may be another one. Yeah, he's pretty consistently inconsistent. Hammer says, Hildur is a whammon, Odin. Phenomenal score for Joker, haunting. Well, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell, Hammer. But, yeah, it's a great score. And I don't care what gender the composer is because I care all about the score. But thank you for correcting me. Sasha Neon says, maybe Bryce got the gig as an apology to Ron or part of his deal for taking on Solo after 90% was completed. Yeah, I could see that happening. CJH says, George also said once that they should never alter movies, but then went back and edited his films. Yep, he's never been a very consistent person. I love the world that he's built. Nothing's ever gonna take away from the amazing world that he's built. But, Lord. So, hold on. Will Gentry, thank you, and Daniel Thorne. So, OST is original soundtrack. Gotcha. So, Disney is really in it for the money. Every episode has a different original soundtrack, and you have to pay for each one. Okay, so Daniel Thorne's point is this, that for The Mandalorian, every single soundtrack, every single musical piece you hear will be different, will be original. So, therefore, if you want each one, you have to pay for it. Oh, yeah, screw that, man. No, you should have one general theme that plays through the entire show and then different variations or different movements in the score. That's how it's always been. Yeah, they're definitely in it for the money. And then Will Gentry says, Wonder Woman 84 might have had bad test screenings, but apparently so did the Wonder Woman film that lots of people like. Yeah, well, that's the point that I think Lethal tried to make, is that almost every DC film up to this point has had bad screenings. Hardwick Bentho, Ron Howard got his foot in the door because of his actor father, Rance Howard, so it's not like his daughter's situation is anything new. That is very true. But I think that he has also proven himself over the years. Howard Bentho says, did you get my email with the link to the video arguing that Snowpiercer is a Willy Wonka sequel? I did get the email. I have not had a chance to watch it yet. Pete 1972 says, I love how the despecialized editions also have a far more accurate color and sound as well. Yes, they do. They are beautiful. Alsworthy says, 80s knowledge, isn't that what I'm here for? That is what you're here for. That is true. Super Anime Gamer, the composer for Joker was actually a woman. Yeah, we got that point. She did the soundtrack for Chernobyl and a few other things. Her name is just very hard to pronounce because she's Icelandic. Yeah, as soon as I saw the spelling, I'm like, that's Icelandic. Harbentho says, do you watch Screen Rant pitch meeting videos? If not, I'd highly recommend checking them out on YouTube. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience. I'm just not a fan of Screen Rant, so I stay away from them, and I'm already watching too much content. Tech Guy says, can you believe there's 1 month left in the decade? Overall, out of the 10, how have movies done this decade? I would say pretty well. We've had some pretty good films coming out this decade. I wouldn't say it's the most powerful decade in movies by any means, but we've had some good ones. Whiplash, for one. Also, I'd throw in there Nightcrawler as another. Yeah, we've had a lot of really great film. Of course, this year we've got Parasite and Joker to add to it. Captain Wingster, anyways, have you considered getting Luigi's Mansion 3? It's really good. No, I saw the gameplay for it. Just didn't seem like my type of game. However, Friday, Pokemon Sword and Shield come out. And despite all of the issues that are apparently pervading the game, like not having a full Pokedex, which is just ridiculous to me, I'm excited to try out some of the things that they got. Harbentho says, if Doomcock sources are telling the truth, could the alleged secret Skywalker be Mara Jade? Could potentially be Mara Jade. That actually would make a lot of sense to me. Alex Riley says, hopefully Gina Carano does a good job on The Mandalorian. I mean, she did a great job as less angry Rosie O'Donnell. You're right. As long as she's not given a lot of lines, she'll be okay. She's not an actress, but she's really good at fighting in a movie/TV show. If anyone ever saw Haywire, it was not for the acting you went to go see her. It was because she had actual real-life fights in the movie with no underscore, no sound effects. It was all raw sound, which made it sound and feel hyper realistic, and because it just was. And if that's what her role is here, just being a badass that fights, I'm okay with that. Sea of the Drake says, A Mandalorian Tale. Yes, A Mandalorian Tale. A long time ago, in A Mandalorian Tale, there once was a man. Kessigan C says, what's your favorite film of all time? It's always a hard question to answer. I feel like I get asked that question every 3 streams. So my top 3 of all time at this point in time are 12 Angry Men, It's a Wonderful Life, and Casablanca. The order changes constantly. If you're going to ask me what my favorite film of 2019 is, it's a tie between Parasite and Joker. I need to see Parasite one more time before I decide which is my favorite. And my favorite film of the decade, Whiplash. Whiplash is a solid film. Larry says, why does To This Show remind me of the Steve McQueen TV series Wanted? He was a bounty hunter in the Old West. Oh, well, I think it's that Western vibe that I think reminds you. Size of Neon says, there was an episode of Gargoyles where Detective Mazza was shot accidentally. In my opinion, was a good lesson on gun safety. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm surprised. So you're saying that they edited that out? Seventy B says, if you need to talk to Odin, please type Odin question so he can see it. Thank you, 70B. Yes, if you type Odin question, it pops up orange on my screen, and so it lets me know you're trying to get my attention. I know that most channels have, you just put the tag in the channel name, but just to make things easier, Odin question just helps me out. Because then you don't have to put the @ symbol. All you need to do is put the letters in that order at any time, and it'll pop up orange. So Odin question. Grandmaster Yoda says, I think Lucas remake the end of episode 9 are only lies. They know Disney Star Wars is dead, and when Jedi Paxis leaks was spot on, they doubled down on damage control. I think we don't know. I honestly think that we have no idea. They don't have any idea what they're doing. We have no idea what they're doing either, right? We have some ideas. We've got some information. We've got a lot of mixed information too. We've got certain people that have sources, and other people that have sources, and other people that have sources, and all the sources are saying different things. So I think that there's just a lot of misinformation out there, and we don't know what's going to happen. But when we watch the movie, we'll know who was right. And that's how I'm handling it. Riot Kitty says, did you hear that the Siamese Cat song is going to be taken out of Lady and the Tramp for Disney+? So I know that the remake they've just released on Disney+ doesn't have that song in there. But I'm assuming it makes sense to me that they would cut that from the original film. Also, I don't know how they would do it, though. Rulon Holmes says, is Phantom Menace a cult? I'm looking for my cousin Stock. He gets stuck in cults easily. No, it's not a cult. It is not a cult. There is no centralized leader of the Phantom Menace. It's a bunch of independent thinkers, independent people. I mean, just this stream alone. There are people in this stream right now that are Phantom Menace that are not going to buy Disney Plus, that are not even going to get the free trial for Disney Plus. And there are others that are here that have Disney Plus, like certain qualities, right? So, no, it is not a cult. It is not even close to that. Rosetta Allen says, you constantly amaze me with your lack of nerd knowledge, you poor young guy. Well, what can I say? Harbentho, Howard Shore did the Hobbit scores recently. He also did Scorsese's Hugo. Yeah, Hugo's score was relatively good, but it's also one that I don't really think about all that much. Same with Hobbit. Jay Stowe, with Disney censorship, we need another company to get the rights from Disney and release Song of the South on 4K or Blu-ray. Yeah, I mean, we've never gotten that. I don't think there was never a DVD release either. You can get the film on DVD, but it's people that I think have transferred the VHS copy, which is going to be a subpar copy. But yeah, I mean, I even did some more research on that movie, and I realized there's really nothing offensive in it. There really isn't. I mean, the biggest critique I heard about it was, the way it portrays African Americans, and I'm like, Yeah, but that's how someone in that time, the Reconstruction, that's the kind of language that they likely would have used. That's the way that they likely would have talked. That's being historically accurate. I don't understand what the big deal is here. Maybe there's something that I'm missing, but based on everything that I was researching, there didn't seem to be any major problems that even I could, like, sometimes I can at least say, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but I disagree. This is like, no, there's not even a point. Like, there's no point that you have. Jeremy Soy says, if we aren't consistent, we should reach 600 a night. Well, we're not. I think everything that was happening in the other streams had everything to do with algorithm. There's something about Dark Fate and Joker. Like, those were the names in the title for the 3 streams where we hit 400 and then 500 people. But because this is all about Mandalorian, spoiler talk, Disney Plus, I think that's the reason why. So it just goes to show you that algorithm, man, YouTube is kind of ridiculous. But thank you for being here tonight. For those that are here, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Hammer says, Ryan Johnson said F him to Star Wars fans recently. Mark Hamill said you could just wait for the Rise of Skywalker to show up on cable. Such harmony. Oh, yes, so much harmony going on behind the scenes. HyperNext13 says, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Snowpiercer, the Rise of Coca-Cola, Polar Bear ending in Snowpiercer. Captain Wingster says, Odin, no, don't fall for the incomplete Pokemon games. Well, I already pre-ordered it, man, so it's a little too late for that. I still want to play it because of the, the open area that they have going on? It looks interesting. John Early, thank you for the $5 super chat, says, I know they're different films, but I really like Joker and Batman Begins as realistic comic book movies. Joker was a breath of fresh air after Endgame. Oh, Joker was just a great film in general, man. And I agree. I like the live action, or rather, I like the more raw and gritty films like Batman Begins, like The Dark Knight, like Joker. And I'm hoping that the next Batman film, Matt Reeves' Batman, follows in the same footsteps. Super Anime Gamer says, oh, speaking of Ron Howard, have you ever seen Rush? I did. I liked Rush. It was a solid film. Bruce says, the decade ends at the end of 2020, not 2019. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. As McCarthy says, Bryce Dallas is a superb actress. She was in this one movie and some other movie. Thanks for your vote of confidence. Rhino says, have you watched Trading Places for 48 Hours yet? No. Nicola says, what is your least favorite film you've sat through in its entirety? Least favorite? In modern times, probably R.I.P.D. I mention this constantly on the channel. But R.I.P.D. is a pain in the butt. I slept through most of it, which is why I'm like, yeah, it's probably the worst film I've sat through. The one that I sat through recently that was the worst that I stayed awake for, probably Unicorn Store. More so than Captain Marvel. Unicorn Store was painful. It was painful to watch. Bruce says, the Snowpiercer Willy Wonka video is a bit of fun viewing. Oh, I bet it is. Hybrid says, I heard Parasite is the highest grossing foreign film in the U.S. I'm so happy both for Joker and Parasite were hits and not flops. Me too. It just goes to show you that good films can sell. Good films without political woke agendas can sell. Horabentho says, super easy, barely an inconvenience is a catchphrase from Screen Rant's pitch meeting videos, which is why I used it. Most of the videos are spot on humorous criticisms of each movie. I'm glad to hear it. I'm just not a fan of Screen Rant. Rosetta Allen says, Phantom Menace, we argue and disagree with each other all the time, and so respect each other. You're damn right. Phantom Menace says, have heard that Disney Plus doesn't work last I have heard. It's working for certain people. So it does work, but it's being very inconsistent, and that's the reason why I'm calling it out. Because I think that if you're going to be a billion-dollar corporation, if you're going to shove it down everyone's throat, if you're going to try and push everyone in that direction in all ways possible, you should be at least ready for the traffic. Especially when you've had years to prepare. You've had, as I said early in the stream, you've been able to look at Netflix, look at HBO, look at all the streaming services that have come before you to learn from their mistakes, and yet you make their mistakes tenfold. It is quite ridiculous. All right, jumping over to D-Lab for a minute. Captain High says, have you heard about the inflatable AT-AT Xmas decoration at Home Depot? No, but it sounds great. Daniel Thorne, every episode of Mandalorian has a digital album with the score on Spotify and Pandora, Apple Music, and Tidal. Interesting. Captain High says, is it true that you have a movie blog? Allegedly. I can neither confirm nor deny, Captain Dean Heiss. Can neither confirm nor deny. Daniel Thorne says, do you think IG-11... Okay, so this is a spoiler. All right, so spoiler portion of the video. If you don't want any Mandalorian spoilers, you might want to mute it because this is a spoiler. So, do you think IG-11 will be brought back in later episodes? So, IG-11 is the droid, which was actually a pretty cool character, I thought. So, IG-11 was the bounty hunter droid in the episode who ends up getting shot by the Mandalorian himself. And so I don't think the character will be brought back because bullet to the head seems pretty clear that the character's dead. If they do bring him back, I'm sure they'll be able to explain it. My guess would be it'll be a similar model, but not technically the same droid. I could see them bringing back... It seems to indicate that there are several IG-11 models that are a part of this clan or a part of this guild of bounty hunters. So it seems to me very likely that IG-11 will not be brought back, the actual IG-11 that was shot, but rather they'll probably bring back another droid that's a similar model, is what my guess would be. Will Gentry says, I'm not at all surprised. Disney will be cashing in big time as often as they can. Their business plan is to milk us dry. You're right about that. Captain Darkstar 57 says, have you ever walked out of a movie, ever ask for your money back? Never asked for my money back because to me, I do enough research on movies to know whether or not I'm going to want to watch a movie. And if I ever come to the point where I sit down with my ticket in a movie theater, I'm not going to walk out. Even if it's bad, I'm going to be like, nope, I'm going to sit through this. Because having worked at a theater, the worst thing that people did was they come out like 30 minutes into a movie and say, oh, this movie's terrible. I want my money back. And I'm like, you chose it. You should have had an idea of what you were going into, and you've already watched more than a third of the film. And of course, if it was a certain time, there was a rule about if it was a certain time past showtime, they could either get a refund or for them, if the movie time had already started, you can only get a pass. You can't get a refund. And there were some people that were like, I don't want a pass. I'm like, this means that you can come back to any movie, including IMAX, 3D, Dolby. You can use this on any of them without a surcharge. So you can actually technically save money when you think about it. But yeah, no, I've never had that experience though. And I've never walked out of a movie either. I've fallen asleep, but never walked out. J-Rod, the beer guru, thank you for the diamond donation, good sir. Says, here's a diamond for your Disney Plus sub. Well, thank you. I'm just using the free trial for now. I don't plan on using my own hard-earned money on it. Just out of principle. But thank you, man. I do appreciate it. Diamonds are forever. Yes, indeed. Jump back over to YouTube. All right, YouTube. Super Anime Gamer says, since they are censoring and cutting stuff out of films for Disney Plus, what do you think is the chance they'll do the same in DVD Blu-rays if they haven't already? Oh, they will. And that's why if you want a copy that is not censored of any of your favorite films that you think might, get them now. Buy them used, because there's going to come a point when they're going to release all their movies. They're doing it now, right? They're releasing a lot of their older films on 4K. And there's a bunch of movies that are eventually going to be released on 4K, and they're going to make any changes that they want to those copies. And so that's why physical media is so important, because you own it. You own it. They cannot change it. They cannot take it away from you. And that's why I'm personally a physical media collector, because it's that important. Also, you get better at video and audio quality as well. Harabentha says, have you ever seen The Twilight Zone, the movie? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? No, I have not. I love the series, though. I watch it. I think it's New Year's every year. They do a marathon, and it's great. Time Enough at Last might be my favorite episode. Slice of Neon says, not sure, just theorizing about censorship. Considering modern Disney series Amphibia has implied cannibalism, there is no consistent rule. Whoa, you just blew my mind. I don't know what that's talking about. Alice Riley says, of course, Drunk is streaming right now. Tiscus, of course, Drunk. Drunk, you know what happens? Drunk, you know what happens when you do your stream? When I'm streaming? You know what happens when you talk to me beforehand and say, by the way, I'm going to be streaming at this time, and you checked in with me over a month ago? You know what happens? You're awesome, man. That's what happens. Alex Ricardi says, got that one. Slice of Neon says, Jason St. Armand with his Amazon books thinks we're a cult of villains. Very John Campea type. Yeah, definitely. Because there's no chance that we're a cult Like, have you looked up the definition of a cult? Rob D says, I like that you have the Odin question for people that want to specifically tell you something. I was once in a chat where if you didn't super chat, you didn't get acknowledged. That happens a lot, Rob. And I'm not going to call out Phantom Menacers for that because I've been in those chats. They're crazy. They're insane. When you have over 1,000 people watching you, it's going to be hard to keep up with it, especially when you have guests on. And when you're talking to people, it's very hard to keep up with everything, right? Especially with me, I have ADD. There's no way I'd be able to handle it. That's why whenever we do the Chosen of Valhalla stream, I say, everyone, by the way, I'm probably not going to be able to read a lot of chats because I'm already focusing on trying to have conversation with people, right? So I understand where they come from. But that's the reason why I like doing the Saturday, Tuesday streams that I do here, because they are lower key. We were getting up to 400 people one time. 500 people, I think, was the max we've gotten to recently. And that was awesome. That was amazing. And I was still able to try and do the best I can to read as many comments as I could. But yeah, it's something that not everyone can do. And that's why I'm glad that our channel is large enough to be able to handle that. I was going to say small enough, but no, we're large enough to be able to handle that. That's the truth. Nicoludo says the joke Alorian for the algorithm. Yeah. I really should. Yeah, I should put Joker in the title and Dark Fate in the title, and then 300 people will show up. Captain Mr. Roy over on DLive, thank you for the diamond donation. And Captain J-Rod, the beer guru, thank you for the diamond donation as well. He put the waving away Groot gift, so I'm wondering if he's leaving. Well, if you are, man, how's it going? You guys are awesome. I love you guys. Thank you for dropping so many diamonds tonight, dude. That's insane. No, you're breathtaking, Captain K, man. You're breathtaking. Putting that in my chat. No, you're the breathtaking one. J-Rod doing the same thing. No, you're breathtaking, good sir. Captain J-Rod, Captain K-Man, Captain Mr. Roy. You're legends. That's what you are. You're legends. All right, Howard Bento says, I think that the only Terminator sequel since T2 to be justified is Terminator Salvation. Flawed as it is, as the rest are rehashes. Yeah, T3 I'm okay with. T3 I'm okay with. It's not good, but I'm okay with it. Salvation is definitely the best of the bunch. Sasha Neon says, Grookey, Score Bunny, or Sobble? No pressure, but this is the most important question of your life. Score Bunny. I've always been a fire type. I've back in the day when I played Pokemon Red, which was my jam back in the day, I always went with Charmander, no matter what. And so Score Bunny, even though I hate the name, and I'm not a fan of a lot of the new Pokemon, I will always go with the fire type. It's just who I am. Venom says, the only good thing Dark Fate made, make me rewatch right now my Sarah's Chronicles Blu-ray. Imagine if we had a season 3 rather than these awful movies. I've never seen it. I've always wanted to. I've been looking into those Blu-rays recently, though, because I do want to eventually buy that because it looks great. It looks fantastic. Captain Darkstar 57 says, diamonds are an Odin's best friend. Thank you. And yes, everyone's freaking... Captain J-Rod setting the chat on fire. All because Will Gentry put in the Captain Marvel image, the Captain Marvel with the heart sticker. Damn you. And now Captain J-Rod's doing the same thing. Y'all ridiculous. I love my D-Live people. And then he's like, Will Gentry, all hail Queen Bree. Screw you. Now that's a cult. If you want to talk about a cult, the Bree bots, that's a cult. Grandmaster Yoda says, do you believe the flop of Dark Fate will scare future woke films like Charlie's Angels? It depends on what you mean. I think that Charlie's Angels has a chance to flop. The big difference, of course, being the budget for it is much smaller. So it has a much higher chance of making it back. Hammer says, Gary watched The Mandalorian on his phone. Star Wars as we knew it is dead. I was there too in 1980 experiencing The Empire Strikes Back in theaters. As I said, Hammer, I understand where you're coming from. However, I also watched on my phone, and I thought it translated pretty well. That's just the age we're in now, man. Alex McCarthy says, hopefully the Batman movie will be all right. I hope so, too. He also says, R.I.P.D. Never heard of such a movie. Yeah, sure, Alex McCarthy. By the way, for the record, Alex McCarthy loves that movie, and it's disgusting. Captain Wingster, Odin, you seem like a guy who needs more anime in your life. Since it's from Japan, no wokeness. That's a good point there. It's a good point. It's a very good point. All right, let's see. Jeremy Swig says, IG-11 didn't kill himself. I didn't say that he did. He got shot in the head by the Mandalorian. Rob D says, there were 4 IG-88s. Were they? I only saw the one in that episode. Harbor Bentho says, you have to put the word Odin question in your comment of him to see it. Thank you, Harbor Bentho, for letting him know. Jace Doe says, they should do a funny parody of Captain Marvel. The Unicorn Store, Ghostbusters 2016, Woke Fate. Call it Captain Unicorn 2016, The Dark Fate. I hope that someone who has editing skills, possibly an Ivan Ortega, once he gets his channel back. By the way, justice for Ivan, everybody. Screw YouTube for whatever it is they're doing. Because it seems that he doesn't have control of his channel. And I think it's now been, at least according to what I've heard, it's likely that YouTube is the one that took control of the channel away. That is creepy. So justice for Ivan. If you're on Twitter, if you want to retweet Ivan Ortega, please do so. Call out YouTube because they have been ridiculous. But anyway, I would love for him to put together something like that. Sasha Neon says, in the EU, there were 4 IG-8I droids. Boba Fett beat 3 of them like a boss. They could mass produce them in The Mandalorian and make destroying them a running gag. Yeah, Slicer, I could totally see them doing that. Absolutely. Hyper says, falling asleep on a movie is clinically healthy. I did that with Captain Marvel and wasn't disappointed. Nice. Alsbury says, diamonds are forever, but you only live twice. Captain Wingster, physical media all the way. But do you know the way, my friends? Do you know the way? Hardwick Bentho, Benedict Cumberbatch encumbered by a cumbersome cummerbund in a cucumber patch. Benedict Cumberbatch encumbered by a cumbersome cummerbund in a cucumber. It's the cucumber that gets me, in a cucumber patch. Hardwick Bentho, that is quite a tongue twister there. John Early, thank you for the $2 super chat, says, imagine if the Justice League Snyder Cut is on HBO Max. I don't believe it exists. The reason why I don't believe the Snyder Cut exists is because in order for the Snyder Cut to exist, they would need to actually film new scenes. Last time I heard, there were so many things left because remember, he left the Justice League before filming was over, which is why Joss Whedon had to come in to finish the movie. So I'm sorry. I think that people need to start being more realistic when it comes to that. I would love for them to release it so that way people would stop asking for it. That's just how I feel about it. Dion says, for me, I'll wait until the first season of Mandalorian is over, then I'll acquire it and watch it. Got plenty of other things to do until then. Hey, I hear you there. Sasha Neon says, I actually really like Amphibia. Really fun animation and cool characters, but take surprisingly dark turns for a Disney show. Not for young kids, but perfect for young at heart like me. Jeremy Swig says, of course we're not a cult. By the way, this punch tastes a little funny. Don't worry about that. Just drink it. Rob D says, it wasn't 1,000 people in the chat, though. It was 50 people. Oh, really, Rob D? Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know what was going on. I can't speak for anyone else but myself, but I just can speak for my other Phantom Menace people and tell you that most of the time it's because it's physically impossible. Harman, though, Twilight the movie was mixed in equality, but had a great version of Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, starring John Lithgow. The creature was way more frightening than in the original. Yeah, I'm sure there were some good odes to the original series, but I like the original series just so much on that one. That's just where I stand. That's just where I stand on that one. Pindrop says, I have a SoundCloud now, and I'm making the Phantom Menace first album. Really, Pindrop? Tell me more. Bruce says, yes, T3 was good, and the Sarah Connor Chronicles are very good. Nice. Glad to hear it. Yes. Hybrid says, what's the sequel gonna do, Charlie's Angels? Charlie's Devils? Plot twist similar to Charlie and the Charlie Factory and Snowpiercer Devil's Advocate is a sequel to Charlie's Angels? Now that'd be an amazing twist. Bruce says, tell me, was it the banana? Was it the banana? What was your previous comment? I need context. Sasha Neon says, I agree. You need more anime like the Blade series I'm watching on Crackle. Not Wesley Snipes, but still cool. I didn't know that they made one. Captain Wingster, is Ivan suffering the same fate as Macro Style, whose channel was hacked and sold? I don't think that's the case because the channel was gone. Now it's back. And YouTube has been in contact with him, but very minimally. And but seriously, justice for Ivan, man. The whole thing is ridiculous. Harabento says, I wonder if YouTube went after Ivan Ortega's channel because he put pirated cam footage of The Last Jedi in some of his videos. Well, no, because that would have been protected under fair use. And I don't think he ever admitted that it was pirated. And I always assumed that he had the Blu-ray and he just ripped it off. Do I know that? No. That's what I always assumed. So that'd be kind of a stretch for them. And again, they would have at least told him about it. They would have said, your channel's been deleted because of copyright infringement. But he never got the strikes or anything. That's how it used to work. You used to have to get 3 strikes before being out. So that still doesn't make any sense. Jeremy Swick says, the IG-11 was comment to compare to Epstein. I was attempting to be funny, but you proved me wrong, and I thank you. You're welcome, Jeremy Swiggs. You are welcome. I didn't get your reference. I thought I had misspoken. You know I have ADD. You know I can only focus on so many things at a time. Come on. Captain Wingster says, hashtag Snyder did nothing wrong. Movie-wise, I would disagree. Alice Martinez, so how did you watch The Mandalorian? Allegedly. So this morning, I allegedly used an app. However, I now have a free trial. I didn't know that there was a free trial, but I now have a free trial so that I could watch it again and watch the new episode on Friday. But I'm canceling that very, 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 very soon once I've seen that episode. I want to be able to look around and see what movies they've got and look around and see what changes have been made, if any changes have been made, to see it for myself. And it's free. Grandma Yoda says, AT&T owns Warner Media and needs to cut $20 billion in debt before 2020. Not to go bankrupt equals goodbye Batwoman. Yeah, you would think so, but we all know they will push anything and keep anything on if it's an agenda they want to push. Bruce says, yes, I love it when they run the Twilight Marathon. Me too. Hammer says, Odin is the greatest chat reader on YouTube and has a great channel. Well, Hammer, thank you, man. I really do appreciate that. And I just try to be as interactive as I can because I know there is a niche for it, or I know that there's a market for it. I know that people like to talk, want to have conversations, and don't have the ability to pay to have those conversations. And so that's something that I've always prided about on this channel is that, we get super chats still, and I read those more quickly. I do want to, obviously shout out anyone that does super chat, that does donate, because I think that, it's one thing, and I say this all the time. Time is so precious. Time really is so precious. And I think that as much as I appreciate when people support me monetarily, time is also a very important thing. And that's why I want to give to the people that donate their time by reading their comments. And sometimes you'll hear the same names over and over again. It's because they're the ones that are putting the tag that I asked them to put, Odin Question. And they're the ones that are here literally the entire stream, that watch an hour and a half twice a week. So watch over 3 hours of content every single week. That's a lot of hours. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of dedication. And I think that, and I hope that other YouTubers can start doing the same thing as well, that there are plenty of people that watch them that just for financial reasons or for multiple reasons can't super chat, and that they should also have a voice. So that's always kind of been my MO, and I like that that's what this channel has become. Does it mean that I get less super chats? Probably. Does it mean that it limits the growth of the channel in some way? Maybe, because that's not for everyone. I don't have guests on all the time. I don't have random conversations with people a lot, right? And it's not because I don't want to necessarily, but it's because I understand why a lot of people have joined the channel. I understand why a lot of people have found the channel and have stayed. And I do it for them. I do it for you guys. And as I said, I do it for fun. I do it for fun. All right, jumping over to DLive for a bit. Will Gentry says, the Brie bots went after me today. According to them, I'm disgusting and need help. Of course they did. He also says, all because I said something about Brie as Slave Leia pic that is going around. I saw that picture and I'm like, please no. All right, he just said, that's why I've been so loyal. I can't afford super chats, and even if I could, I'm not going to pay to get someone's attention. Yeah, exactly, man. And as I said, I'm not going after anyone that only reads super chats, because most of the people I know that do that literally could not be in the chat constantly. I mean, I've moderated those chats. On Friday Night Tights. That's like usually the largest stream that I'm a part of on a weekly basis is Friday Night Tights, where we have over 1,000 people watching, and I'm in the chat, but there's no way I could respond to every comment. So that's a situation where it makes sense, but also we're having conversations with each other. So we're not focusing on the chat. So if someone wants to add to the conversation, the only real viable way to do so would be to support the channel in that way, right? But we don't have that and don't have to worry about that here. That's why we're growing so much. I was like, wow, 500 people were watching, 400 people were watching. I hope it doesn't keep growing, because otherwise I might have to start cutting back on the interaction with the chat, and I don't want to do that. But as you can see, apparently the algorithm is no longer on my side, but that does not mean that I don't appreciate the people that are here, because you guys are awesome. Bruce says, RIPD, living people saw a banana instead of a gun. Oh, yeah. That shows you how much I paid attention to and enjoyed that movie. Oh, God, that movie was so stupid. Captain Wingster, is because he's Mexican, YouTube, is Ivan... Is it because he's Mexican, YouTube is racist? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Harbentho says, Ivan Ortega had some early videos before The Last Jedi was released on home video formats, in which he did test editing with low-quality cam footage someone had recorded in a theater. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah, but they still would have warned him from that. Like, that's what bothers me, is that, no, if you're going to have a standard, you need to stick by it. So if your standard is you have 3 strikes, you're out, you got to give them the strikes. Because if you're not warned about it, then how are you supposed to know? Oh, because you're supposed to read all of the terms and conditions, every single word of it? Screw you. Hell no. Hell to the no. Captain K-Man just dropped the diamond over there and then put the you're breathtaking, Captain K-Man. Captain Mr. Roy dropped the diamond donation, and then Captain J-Rod, the beer guru, said, did you hear that Epstein didn't kill himself? I have. So there's been apparently some evidence that has been discovered that he indeed was likely killed, and it's not surprising. It really isn't. Seeing that this guy was at the center of something really dark and really sinister, and probably had names of a lot of rich people, it doesn't surprise me that he would be implicated in that way. All right, Rob D. Hold on, no. I want to make sure I read all the comments that contact me. Jeremy Swig says, time is precious and Schmeagol is trying to take it back. Schmeagol? Yes, you're right. Alex Martinez, I appreciate you reading my comments. That's not allegedly. Well, thank you, Alex Martinez. I appreciate that, man. I get you. Rob D says, time is precious. Never waste it. Throws alarm clock into vat of water. Isn't that true? I know that's me in the mornings, man. Like, I turn my alarm clock off, and I'm just like, oh, can't I just stay unconscious for another 5 minutes? Size of Neons. I dislike spoiler talk, completely discriminatory towards the rest of the chat, or rest of the car. Oh, I'm sorry, Slicer. I'm sorry. To be honest, or rather, at least to be fair to me, it does say in the title of the video, The Mandalorian Spoiler Talk. And we are towards the end of the video, so I did want to talk about that ending a little bit and get some of y'all's mindset before we end the stream. So we are going into the only, in my opinion, the only major spoiler for the first episode of The Mandalorian. All right? So that's your warning. Okay. So at the very end of the show, it is revealed that the mark that the Mandalorian, we don't have his name yet, so that's why I'm still calling him that, was trying to get access to is none other than a baby from the species of Yoda. Now, the reason why this has caused some controversy, and the reason why I gave a shout out to Ryan, RK Outpost, in my video today, is because he made a point that George Lucas apparently did not want anyone touching Yoda. Wanted no stories about Yoda, no stories about his past, no stories about other members of his species. And so what you find out is that the mark that he's trying to get, the Mandalorian's trying to get, is 50 years old. But then in this little baby cradle is a young baby of the Yoda species. I don't know. Has Yoda's species ever been given a name? I don't even know. But that's obviously a major story arc. We never knew that there was another member of his species. We have no idea what the character will be. If the character is 50 years old as a baby, I don't know how they're going to make the character relevant, because if it's a baby at 50 years old, when will it be able to talk? When will it be able to become a Jedi? Will it become a Jedi? Are they all Force sent? Like, there's so many questions, and some people have had negative thoughts. I'm more in the middle because I don't have as much tie-ins to the EU or to what George Lucas says, because George Lucas has done a lot of really bad things to his own story in a lot of ways. So I think that it could work, but I am definitely cautious. I'm cautiously optimistic because I'm interested in that we now have another member of Yoda's species, but also I don't know what they're going to do with it, and I don't know how it's going to pan out. And I hope that whatever they do, it's for the best. Will Gentry over on DLive says, doing that would just get the Ivan 3 strikes and he's out. That wouldn't mean he got told that he's no longer the channel's owner. Yeah, that's right, Will Gentry. That's why everything is just so weird, because we just got nothing, right? So anyway, what are your thoughts for those that did watch it? Let's see. Slice of Neon says, I dislike spoiler talk. Got that one already. Captain Waster says, Odin, you got to stop thinking about your audience. You have to run it with an iron fist, because socialism in fashion right now. Mother Russia approves. Yes, I must be like communist Mother Russia. Alice McCarthy says, your breathtaking, wonderful speech, jazz hands. Thank you. Appreciate it. Kigo Roger, what's going on, man? Jeremy Swig says, I made a pic of you on Geeks and Gamers Facebook page. Didn't know if you had caught it. I'm not active on the Facebook page. I have Facebook Messenger, and just Facebook Messenger. So if you need to DM it to me on Twitter, I might be able to watch it, see it that way. Bruce says, so aren't you glad you're back to 126 viewing? I feared the 500 plus might go to your head. I knew it wouldn't last very long, and I always assumed that it was the algorithm. Bruce says, Clinton did it. Yeah, sure. I just read a tweet where Disney Plus responded to someone, quote unquote, said, due to ongoing problems online, Star Wars content is no longer available for our male fans. That's yeah, I don't believe that. Alice McCarthy says, the one thing I thought about the ending of Mandalorian was, when did Yoda find time to have adult relations? Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's a great question, right? Where did this young thing come from? We don't know much about Yoda's species, except that he seemed to be the only one. So it's interesting. Baby Yoda. Yeah, we have a baby Yoda. Stephanie be like, Baby Yoda? Yeah, Baby Yoda. I'm surprised it's not trending on Twitter yet. I'm sure Disney's trying to keep down on that. Sasha Neon says, so the big spoiler is the illegitimate love child of Kermit the Frog. Don't tell Miss Piggy. Pretty much. Maybe baby. Yeah, maybe baby Yoda clone. Oh, Yoda clone, Rhino says. That could be it. Yeah, it's still a mystery at this point in time. Yoda and Yaddle's baby, perhaps? Yaddle? Hyperin, was that a joke or are they serious? All the person asked was why A New Hope could not be accessed on Disney Plus, and that's how they responded sexist much? Well, I don't know if that's true. Jeremy Swig says, oh, Yoda's species isn't mentioned, but episode 1 also had Yaddle on the council, and she was at the Naboo celebration. Really? I never noticed that before. Alex McCarthy says, I've seen other Yoda folk. There was one in the Jedi Council and the Knight of the Old Republic game. Okay, I never played that. Rob D says, I want to see E.T. in The Mandalorian. Now, E.T.'s species did appear in the background in episode 1. You're right. Rob D, you're right. So there is a canonical way they could bring that in. Slash of Neons says, species never named, sore spot on Wikipedia. Sore spot on Wikipedia having to label the page as unnamed green tridactyl species. Now that's quite a mouthful. Oh god, there's a lot of crap. There's a lot of stuff going over on DLive right now. Let's see. I don't want to miss anything. So Will Gentry says, "Oh, they better not ruin Yoda. If they ruin Yoda, I'm going to firebomb literally everything I see in the Disney name." Oh damn, Will. Don't say that. They're listening. Captain Darkstar says, question, what do you need to carry all these diamonds? A bag? I guess. And then Captain J-Rod drops another diamond. Do or do not. There is no try. Thank you. And then here's where it happened. So, Captain Mr. Roy gifted a 1-month sub to Daniel Thorne. Daniel Thorne received the 1-month sub from Mr. Roy. Captain Mr. Roy then gifted another 1 month sub to Will Gentry, and then Captain Will Gentry just received the 1 month subscription from Mr. Roy. And now we've got a bunch of captains in the chat, and everyone is excited. More captains, and then Captain... and then Captain Darkstar is like, wrong answer, and then drops a Ninja Genie in the D-Live chat. Holy crap. Thank you so much, man. Oh, man. It's a rocking and a rolling over on the D-Live chat right now. You guys are awesome. Holy crap. Oh, so much Lino. Oh, we're rolling in the Lino tonight, everybody. Oh, my gosh. Y'all are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, man. Captain Darkstar 57 dropping that Ninja Genie tonight. Taking that #1 top contributor section. Thank you so much, man. And then Captain K-Man just dropped in the 2 ice cream. Well, thank you, Captain K-Man, as well. I appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Captain Darkstar, thank you so much, man. That's awesome. You're right. The Ninja Genie will definitely help with all those diamonds, lemons, and ice cream. All right. Jump back over to YouTube. Let's see. Mark Oquist says there was a female Yoda named Yaddle. I did not know that. Alex Martinez, we didn't know what Yoda's species name is or what planet they are from. That's what I thought. Alex Martinez says that's how Lucas wanted it. Apparently now we know they stay as babies for over 50 years, and who knows how much longer. I mean, how long do they stay as babies before they become adults? I think that's a great question, right? And that to me is the biggest concern is this Yoda baby going to be a baby the entire series, or are they going to have this weird growing up thing happen? I don't really know. HyperNext13 says, dude, I'm not joking. The Dishonored Wolf retweeted what they said on Twitter. Okay, I'd have to see that for myself to see that. It wouldn't surprise me. Actually, that would surprise me because they're usually not that, straightforward with it. Holy crap, everyone's going insane over on D-Live right now. Captain Larry 2001, thank you for the lemon donation. Captain J-Rod the Beer Guru now just dropped his own Ninja Genie and is now the #1 contributor. He took the spot from Captain Darkstar. He says, fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. You're right, Captain J-Rod. And thank you for that Ninja Genie, man. And for letting me do my Yoda impersonation. It's one that I'm actually quite proud of. I don't know how good it is, but it's always just fun to do. And then Captain K-Man dropped 7 lemons. Captain Darkstar dropped an ice cream. Captain J-Rod dropped a lemon. Then Captain J-Rod dropped another lemon. And then Captain Darkstar dropped 5 lemons. And the Senate says, what happened with Wolf? He retweeted a comment from apparently Disney. Is that what someone said? It was a Disney tweet. Someone was responding. So someone responded to, someone was complaining because Disney Plus. Disney Plus is having a lot of issues, and apparently people are having issues accessing Star Wars content. And so apparently someone from the official Disney account, Star Wars account, responded by saying that they're limiting access to the male viewers. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Do not quote me on that. I would need to see the actual proof of it myself. And then Captain J-Rod says, it's not too shabby. You're right. It's not too shabby at all. And then Captain Larry donated a lemon. Captain Daniel Thorne donated an ice cream. And then Captain Will Gentry says it was from a parody account. Okay. Captain Will Gentry coming in with the facts. So Captain Will Gentry is saying it was a parody account, not an actual account. A parody account, not an actual account. And that helps to explain things. That's what I figured. I figured it was fake. The way that it's worded, I figured it was fake. They're not that... they don't lay it on that thick. Captain Darkstar, thank you so much, man. Just dropped another diamond and said, this means war. This means war, good sir. Oh, man. Captain Darkstar and Captain J-Rod are having a Lino off over on the D-Live chat. And then Captain Gentry says, if you go to the Twitter account, the first word you see is parody. Yep. Always check your facts, people. Always double check. Always fact check. CW Trixie says, just got informed that some of my sisters got Disney Plus. At least we know what has been cut and censored later on, I guess. There you go, CW. CWD. Slash Neon says, you can see Yaddle in episode 1 in the EU. She died before Attack of the Clones. Oh, okay. Grandmaster Yoda says, last year the news broke Ted Turner buy the rights to OT for TV and got the streaming rights at the same time. With less, he sold it back to Disney. Can't stream episodes 1 to 6 before 2024. And yet they are. So obviously they made some deal because they are now streaming on the Disney streaming service. All of the films. D-Live is crazy right now. Harbentho says, I looked up the male fans' Twitter quote and thought it was real for a while. Then I looked more carefully at the page. Turns out it's a convincing parody account. There you go, Harwick. So yeah, it's a parody account. Not real. Harbentho says, Baby Yoda is 50. 50 is a man age. Does that make Yoda Jr. a man baby? I like that logic. So Alex McCarthy, Baby Yoda is 50. 50 is a man's age. Does that make Yoda Jr. a man baby? I guess it does. Hybrid, I got fooled. Hybrid X13 says, I got fooled. They got me. So it was a parody account. Jokes on me. Well, there you go, Hybrid. It happens to the best of us sometimes. And then Alex McCarthy says, that Disney Plus account, parody account, was kind of hilarious. It makes fun of Disney, in my opinion. Oh, yeah. Most of those accounts do. There's a really great account that my boy Matthew Kadish had retweeted. And I'm like, oh no, this account's great. This account is making fun of everybody, and I love it. There are so many great parody accounts nowadays. And Slash Neon says, in 2011, Marvel made 4 anime miniseries, Blade, Wolverine, Iron Man, X-Men, all quite good. Not for kids, though. Check them out, bro. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Slicer. Let me know where they're available. You said they're on Crackle? Is that where you said they were? Please let me know. All right, well, we are way over the time that I normally spend here on the stream, so let me go ahead and pull up some pages real quick while y'all might get in some last-minute comments. So let us see here. Let's see. Relationship manager. Active patrons. All right, so let me give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters for November. Animation commentator Brian P., Edward Coleman, Elizabeth M., Enrique Evangelista, China Man, Father Christopher Miller, Frank the Tank and the Sean Weeder Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunka Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, JJ Jonathan Jarenbeck, Lady T, Mitch, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin, Orange Chat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Patrick Layden, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Sir Lancelato, The DJD Show, Theodore Bendon, Those Two Ball Guys, and US Dutch Kitty. You are all amazing and beautiful people. Also, a huge shout out to my Subscribe Star subscribers as well. Larry, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Dark Star 57, Laura Story, Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nebadon G. Adams, ZK Man, and that's it. Let's see. We have some losses. We have some losses in the chat. Drunken Welfare Man, I don't know who you were in the chat, but Drunken Welfare Man says, moving on. Moving on. Give me more than that, man. But thank you for your support for as long as you did. He was around for, let's see, a month, 2 months, 2 months. Thank you for being here, Drunken Welfare Man. And then Tina B. She will be back, though. She will be back. She was telling me all the things that were going on. But, goodbye to Drunken Welfare Man. But everyone else there, thank you so much for sticking around and for being awesome, amazing, beautiful people. A lot of my Subscribe Star people are over on D-Live. So Captain Darkstar, J-Rod the Beer Guru. Oh, is he Larry as well? Yeah, Larry as well. And ZK Man. ZK Man has been around for a while on that service. So you guys are Captain Dean Heiss. I'm not sure if you're still over there or not, but I know that you're over there too. So yeah, you guys are freaking awesome. Let's see. Alex Garley says, hashtag release the Odin cut this breathtaking stream. Thank you. Laura says, I used to love watching people argue with that Tatiana McGrath parody account. Oh my God, that account is brilliant. Harbentho says, the general assumption is that Baby Yoda is female. Do you think this is correct? Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. And because this is a new series, I don't think I would mind that as much. If this was based on something else, that would be a problem, right? Because that's when wokeness comes in. But this is original content. This is new territory. So they can do certain things that don't necessarily have to be called SJW, right? And I think that's what you have going on here. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Sasha Neon says, all on Crackle, Spectacular Spider-Man 2. Nice. Jay Stowe, live long and prosper. Live long and prosper, good sir. Jeremy Swig says, you call out your Patreon supporters, but what about us emotional ones? Wait, what? Wait, what? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? I give shout-outs because they give time and also, financial support. That's why I read the chat. I read the chat to give y'all the shout-outs because they might not be able to be here all the time. Anyway, you show us some skin, says Cyrus. You don't want to see that. Cyrus, you don't want to see that, bro. You don't want to see that. Anyway, Chris Stanley, thank you for the $5 donation through Streamlabs. Thank you for using Streamlabs, man. It says, Hail Odin. Beret played that better late than never, I think is what he was trying to say. He typed in Beret played than never. Beret played than never. I think he meant better late than never. Beret played than never. Oh, that's wonderful. I love it. Jeremy Swiggs. We give emotional support and we'll hold you if need. Oh, thank you, Jeremy Swiggs. Oh, no, I'm okay. I'm fine. It just hurts. It just hurts when people leave and don't tell me why. And then Chris Stanley says, stupid auto spell. Hey, I like it better. Beret played than never. Hashtag Beret played than never is getting. Yes, Slicer. Oh, yes. It's getting very sassy. Throwing in the French beret. Oh, Beret played than never. That's just fantastic. Thank you again, Chris Stanley. I appreciate it, man. Thanks to everyone that donated tonight. And also thanks to everyone that stuck around tonight. D-Live fam, I don't know what's in the water over there tonight, but you guys have been on fire. So y'all stick around because y'all know I'll take care of y'all in a bit. Tina will be back indeed. 70B, you are exactly right about that. And Sia Productions coming in at the very end saying, come on to another stream. It's okay. Sia Productions. Most of the time we turn in to Stephanie B. Stephanie B's got your back though. Stephanie B is a wonderful, beautiful person. And then Hyprin says, who are your favorite characters? You're going to ask a question right now? When we're ending the stream, you're going to ask a question? He says, what are your favorite characters of 2019? No limits. That's too much. And then Hypern retracts it. Okay. Super says, thanks for hosting another great stream. Have a great night. You have a great night too, man. And seriously, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a great stream. It's been nice to have it back down to the normal numbers, around 120 people or so, which is kind of like that nice safe zone for me. And it's great. So if you have not seen The Mandalorian, I actually recommend it. I think that it's a solid show. And if you want to see a Baby Yoda, I mean, hey, you get Baby Yoda. What else is there to say about Baby Yoda? It's going to be interesting to see where that character development goes. It's going to be interesting to see if they do bring back the IG-11 droid or not. And I'm excited to see what happens. So we'll see what happens on Fridays when the next episode airs. And let's hope and pray that maybe this time Disney won't completely screw it up. But based on the track record, things aren't looking very promising. Anyway, you guys are freaking awesome. I love you guys at the bottom of my heart. Have a wonderful night. And as always, God bless.